workshop, Dementia, How to Prepare for the Future, as well as remind you guys, too, if you don't already know, that our caregiver community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, is open for just one more day before we close our doors for the rest of 2025. Dementia Caregiving Made Easier is for folks who are looking to just make their caregiving journey easier, whether you are thinking your person might have dementia all the way to late stage dementia is a community of folks. It is done for you resources. So, with all that being said, let's hop right into our questions that I didn't get a chance to answer during our workshop series. Okay. So, first off, uh, what if you are at work while they are sundowning? What activity can you give to your loved one that they're able to do by themselves? That is a really big question. A lot of us as caregivers, we are needing to still work. We're still maybe taking care of kids. So that's a big question of how can I get them to do things independently? And it really depends on where they're at in the disease process. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. So if they're in earlier stages, it might look like having a prepared task just set up so that they can easily do it. I'd say that works for earlier stages. For middle stages, I'm sorry to tell you, they might have to just still be next to you with you prompting them every 10-ish minutes. And if you're still working or still doing stuff, it might require you to have to hire somebody to do that prompting and that legwork either next to you or within another room or what have you so that you can work. It's important to be aware that will likely be a thing eventually through the disease process so that you can prepare. I think it's criminal that dementia caregivers are chronically underprepared for what is going to be their future as a dementia caregiver. uh, what's most likely to be their future because like as parents, for example, we at least have an idea that we're going to need childcare, that is going to be a lot of work. A lot of us are aware of that beforehand, and just there's just a criminal lack of education when it comes to the realities of the daily things that come with caregiving. So again, that's what our community dementia caregiving made easier is looking to fill that gap in. So again, if you're interested in joining Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, go to dementiasuccesspath.com. We are accepting new members just for one more day. So, anyways, hopefully that answers that question of how do I help with sundowning? Specific activities, too, that can help with sundowning. I highly recommend. Uh, Things outside, making sure that you have them do something with their hands, and make sure too to be mindful of around the time of day that they typically sundown. Because most people they have a time in which they typically sundown. For most of the folks that I cared for, it was like mid to late afternoon was their typical time. And if you don't know what sundowning means, sundowning is basically when the brain gets tired. It's not a disease in itself. It's just a way to describe their brain just getting tired as the day goes on. That's essentially what sundowning is. If you've seen a toddler have a tantrum or be overtired, you've basically seen what sundowning is. Like essentially, it's pretty much the same thing. When toddlers overtired, they're melting down, they're really anxious, they're freaking out. Kind of the same thing with our folks with dementia. Their brain's just tired and they just don't know how to settle themselves and get themselves regulated anymore. Just because, again, we got to stop thinking of dementia like it's just they're forgetful. Sometimes we have to start thinking about it as they are as brain death over time. Like that's the truth of what it is. It is brain death over time. So yeah, hopefully that answers that specific question on sundowning and what we can do as far as helping them be independent. Um, I'd also recommend looking at Dementia Montessori if you want to learn more specifics. Or again, our dementia caregiver community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier. You can sign up at dementiasuccesspath.com. All right. And again, if you guys want to ask me any questions live, feel free to, or ask any questions in the comment. If you're catching this as a replay, feel free to pop something in chat or pop something in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. All right. Next question is, I have a huge issue. My mom has dementia. Since last March, we were notified our apartment that she's lived in for over 36 years. We have to move out for renovations. She has been combative and wants to micromanage everything, but she doesn't actually let us help. Any advice on the situation to have her change what she considers home? Yeah. Well, I mean, you got a perfect built-in excuse right there. And I think what a lot of caregivers are hoping for is that their person with dementia will be totally okay with whatever things are thrown at them. And that's just like not the reality. Transitions for anybody is hard. Moving for anybody is hard. But throw in your brain not working correctly, and that just makes it even more difficult. So I'd say what's there is emphasizing how temporary the situation is. That really, really helps for a lot of folks with dementia with transitions just in general. So transitioning from their house to maybe your house, or transitioning from maybe even your house to assisted living or memory care or things like that. They don't do well when they hear changes are forever and there's nothing they can do to change it. That doesn't help. But hey, you have like a built-in reason why they need to move out for the renovations. So like a good example of hi, welcome. Um, your person with dementia doesn't necessarily have to be happy about it, but it does have to. But I would say what's there is if you do have to move it for innovations, emphasize how temporary it is. That would be my suggestion to help them get through the difficulty of that. All right. Next question. Uh, Dementia is just already super overwhelming. And how am I supposed to even find the time to learn best practices? I'm just trying to survive. Which is a great point. That's a good question from our workshop series. And here's what's happening. When What folks don't understand about dementia is you need to learn a completely new way to talk to somebody you may have known for years or even decades. That's just the truth. So what's there is we need to be able to learn how to communicate better, and we need to learn how to meet them where they are. That's going to actually make our daily lives so much easier. And the reason being is we can't change, like we they can't learn because their brain is dying over time. So when we learn how to better communicate with them, when we learn how to connect with them, when we learn how to adapt like their daily tasks or their routine based off of their current ability levels, we save ourselves so much time, so much energy, just so much uh, that we are able to be able to just take a breath and have more time. Because I think what's there is our we don't know what we don't know. We we are just trying to when we're just on survival mode constantly and we're not trying to make things easier for ourselves, even if that does take 5, 10 minutes in our day, like you don't realize how much time you're wasting. So a good example of what I mean by this is a lot of people get in these nonstop arguments because their expectations, like they're expecting their person with dementia to do something that they just cannot physically do. So you're just wasting hours of your life trying to get them to do something that they're just never going to be able to do. So if you invest 10 minutes into learning, or even less, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, oftentimes that's how long it takes to consume a lot of my membership content. Again, dementiasuccesspath.com if you're interested in that. But if you invest that 5 minutes into learning, okay, maybe I should say this instead of doing this, and you try it out and you move past through the conflict, it you save yourself hours of time, like hours and hours of time. Like it is just unbelievable how much time you save by learning, just investing like a really, really small amount of time. So I would think of gaining knowledge or gaining time is investing in your own sanity, investing in your own self-care, investing in your time and your energy. Like that is invaluable. And also too, the biggest thing I will hear from folks is that they feel like they're losing themselves in caregiving, and that they feel 100% alone. They don't know anybody around them that is dealing with the same things, and being able to not just like meet people that are also caregiving, but also being able to uh, get like swap tips with them is just tremendously helpful. It makes you not only feel like you're not alone, but also that th- there are folks who've experienced the same thing that you have that may have an answer that maybe you couldn't have thought of by yourself. So, okay. Well, happy birthday, Derek. Uh, okay. So that would be my suggestion. So hopefully that is something that will be helpful to us. All right. Next question. How would you react if your person is hospitalized and is asking to go home? And because of this repeated question and attempt to escape, the hospital is using restraints like a belt to the hospital bed, which is making them angry. Yeah, that's a decent question. So I would say I'm usually not a big fan of like reorientation when it comes to dementia, but in this situation, it's good to maybe ask them, "Hey, do you know where you are right now?" That could be really helpful, especially when they're in a really strange place like a hospital. And maybe ask them, "Have you been to a hospital before?" Just like as like a little touchstone to their excuse me, to their long-term memory. That can really help folks out a lot who are struggling with being in a hospital setting. Like that can help them a lot. So ask them, "Hey, have you been to a hospital before? Do you know where you are?" So I think that can be super helpful to folks. And also, too, just figure out what do they need at home. So it could be as simple as they're hungry and they're not sure where to find food, or they're thirsty and they're not sure where to find water. It could genuinely be that simple. And I understand, like, something that is not talked about a lot is a lot of folks at like the ER or like general hospitals aren't really trained on how to communicate or talk with people with dementia. That definitely needs to change. But as a caregiver of someone with dementia, you are their biggest advocate. You definitely need to be their voice and communicate to the staff what tends to work best with them. So a lot of it is helping them get calm and meeting their needs when you can, and then giving them a reason why not right now. Trying to reason with them definitely does not work in those situations. So that would be my suggestion. All right, let's see. Let's see. My mom refuses to get out of bed to go to her adult daycare or to the doctor. How do I get her to go? Yeah. So I guess first thing I'd look at too, if they're refusing to get out of bed, is are they in pain? Like, is mom in pain? Maybe there's some pain medication that can help. Uh, Secondly, too, I would think about uh, what does she care about? Who are the people that she cares about? Maybe like, and maybe with the doctor too, for example, maybe they offer telehealth as an option, so she doesn't necessarily have to get out of bed to see the doctor. Or with adult daycare, it's like, what are some things that she does care about? Like, a big thing that a lot of folks talk about is, well, I can get my person with dementia to do just about anything with the promise of ice cream. Um, so that I think that would really help with those two things. So hopefully, I'd say try that. Again, adjust the environment and think about what motivates them as far as getting them out of bed. And then maybe a third tip too would be give yourself a lot of time to try to transition them from bed to going outside. I think that would also help a lot as well. Another suggestion I gave too is even like having them go to bed at night in an outfit that could pass as like an out like going outside type outfit. So maybe all you have to do to get them ready to go out the door is maybe put some shoes on and put like a sweater on, and that's it to lower the friction to getting out, because sometimes that can be a reason why that they're refusing, is like the idea of like all the steps that it takes to get out of the house could be a lot for someone with dementia. So lowering that can also really help. So that would be my suggestion as well. All right. Next question. I'm already in a support group. Is it worth joining the membership? So again, folks who are just joining me right now, uh, I'm answering questions from our last workshop, and I recently just opened my membership, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier. So if you are a dementia caregiver and you are looking for done for you solutions and a community of folks that aren't just there to vent and to grieve, which again, nothing wrong with that, but you're looking for folks who are offering like practical tips, practical suggestions based off of their lived experience, and you're looking to feel less alone in your situation, you're looking maybe to get some one on one help as well. Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, you go to dementiasuccesspath.com to join. But if you're already in a support group, is it worth joining the membership? Absolutely, it is. Because a lot of these support groups that are out there, they tend to almost be like group therapy in that, not obviously the same thing, but similar in that it's a lot of people venting and a lot of people going through grieving process, which are very valid experiences, but not everybody's looking for that. So if you're looking for that, great. But if not, then hey, totally understandable. So, anyways, that would be my suggestion there. See, already been through Alzheimer's care at home with my father for 8 years. He has passed 10 years now, and now my mom is beginning to show signs. Dad is an easy personality. Mom will be tougher. Any tips? Yeah, for sure. Different folks that you're caregiving for may be a completely different experience. So I will say, unfortunately, Wild Daisy, uh, how mom was before, temperament wise, gives absolutely zero indication of how she's going to be through dementia. There's some people who are super sweet before dementia who are horrible and mean during dementia. There's some people who are horrible and mean before dementia who are really nice in dementia. And there's some people for whom dementia just takes their original temperament and then dials it up a notch. So it is really impossible to know for 100% certain how it's going to go with her. But with that being said, since you already did care for your dad, I'm sure you know some of the hallmarks. At least you have a little bit of an idea of what the reality is. I'm curious, Wild Daisy, you can tell me in chat too, um, if you've noticed any differences so far between caregiving for your mom and dad, and ultimately what the journey with dad looked like in the end. Because you're at least hopefully ahead of the game, and that you understand like the legal aspect of caregiving. You like, which is you got to get a power of attorney to be able to take control of their finances and their medical needs as time goes on. If you don't do that, then what ends up happening is you have to go through the court system. And yes, this is for America. Um, Someone's just asking me if I'm American. Yeah, I'm American, and I am talking about the American system. Yeah, so it may it's a lot more difficult and harder of a system going through the courts to get this done. So at least you have uh the benefit of knowing all of that type of stuff. I think as far as mom maybe having a different temperament, in general, it may okay, already got all the legal medical in place a long while, already take care of mom's finances. That's great. You're already ahead of the game. So I'd say what's there with mom if you think she's going to be temperamentally hard. I'd say what's there is you may want to plan for like either home health or long-term care options maybe a little sooner than what you would have had to do with dad. That's what I would recommend as far as that goes. If you think mom's just going to be temperamentally difficult, maybe you guys don't have that good of relationship. I don't know what 100% your situation is, but that would be a good place to plan, as well as practicing like de-escalation skills, practicing uh like if she's a little bit more of an independent spirit, then figuring out like how can instead of constantly telling her no and constantly correcting her, how can I set up her environment to meet her where she's at as far as her ability levels? Like how can she still participate in her home? How can she still do the things that she's always done where she is right now? Like how can I help support her in doing that? So that's what I would do. Awesome advice. Any suggestion in easing the transition of my grandpa into retirement home? He constantly says he's well enough to live on his own. Simply looking at him with the injuries. Yeah. So what I would say as far as transitions going, as far as transitions to a retirement home, Jay, I'd say what's there is emphasizing how temporary it is. And this may be a question if I don't know if you're the main caregiver for them, Jay. It might be like your parents that are doing this, and maybe you're passing this information along to them. Let me know in chat if I'm right or wrong about that. But maybe letting your parents know, like, hey, just tell him this is just something we're trying to see if this helps, and lean into like what grandpa sees as wrong. So for example, if grandpa doesn't believe he has dementia, maybe he understands that he has like a bad knee that needs some rehab. Maybe you guys want to place him in a nursing home with a rehab place. So just focusing on like that's the reason for the move. Or if he has none of that, maybe saying, there's termites or there's mold in your house, and we found a great senior living place for you to stay at for a little bit. So that would be good. We had lots of help with dad. He was 911 responder. Fire department was great in helping. Dad was a homebody. Mom was a go, go, go person. Okay. Yeah. So definitely looking into adult daycare for mom, looking into definitely, I would, if you guys can afford it, I'd recommend like a senior living community, because then that's like a whole support infrastructure around you of all kinds of people that can help and give her community. Sounds like your mom is the type of lady who would really thrive around community, doing things for other folks, and that's great. So I think those places are a lot more built for that type of stuff. So that may be the difference between mom and dad. Is with mom, we may need to think about long-term care a little bit sooner. And when I say long-term care, it could be as benign as like independent living at first. Like independent living is honestly great. Yeah, mom is a social butterfly. That's what we were thinking. Definitely. And independent living is fabulous because it's like you still have that, you have an apartment, but you also have like a ton of activities. Like the sooner you can, the better, because while she's still cognitively like somewhat okay, it's a lot easier for her to make friends and make connections with people and build up that support system around her. So yeah, I highly recommend independent living first, and then maybe finding a place that has like multiple levels of care so that she can transition smoothly through all of it is great. Oh, thank you for subscribing to me, Sashin. Sashin, too, if you are interested, if you're a caregiver, definitely go to dementiasuccesspath.com and join our caregiver community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier. We're only open for new members for just one more day. Um, do I like India? I mean, I've actually had like one or two folks in my caregiver community from India. So, uh, hey, we've had members in our community from all over the world. I will disclose though that most of the people in our group are American, but hey, we've had Australian people, like anywhere where you can speak English. We've had people that have joined our caregiver community. So again, dementiasuccesspath.com. If you're wanting to join our caregiver community, we are only open for new members for just one more day before we close for the rest of the year. All right. But yeah, great questions. And great questions as far as dementia goes. It's really hard. Like transitions are really, really hard for sure. And I think as time goes on, we're going to see, like, this is my prediction just based off of how the world in general is going. We're going to see a lot more like multi generational households because we're just going to need more community support for, kids that need to be taken care of and for elders that need to be taken care of, especially as the baby boomers age. Um, Let's see. We tried that, but he's still uneasy. I'm one of the adult grandkids working with my aunt, who is the primary caregiver. Okay. Yeah. And that's okay if he's uneasy about it. That's normal. Like a lot of people feel nervous about moving. I think what's there is that as long as he's at least willing to, as long as he's willing to try it, then then I think that that'll help a lot. So what kind of videos do I upload? Yeah, I upload dementia education videos. So uh you know, definitely what's really cool about the membership community is it helps sponsor a lot of the free stuff out there. So ultimately the difference between our caregiver community versus what you can find for free online is when you're finding stuff for free online, it's really time consuming. You don't always know what you're looking for. You don't even know if the information you're finding may apply to you or would work for you. Versus in our caregiver community, all this is done for you, is personalized to you, and there's a community of folks that have are going through it with you or have been through being a dementia caregiver. So just feeling not alone and feeling like there's some light at the end of the tunnel, that it's possible for things to be easier day to day, that when things inevitably change, which is what happens with dementia, like, just wait 6 months, your reality as a caregiver is going to be completely different. Uh, it just helps so much. Let's see, but you need to advocate for them, learn all you can, reach out, don't be afraid to ask friends and family for help, gather your tribe. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one big mistake I think a lot of caregivers make, and that I'm hoping Dementia Caregiving Made Easier can help folks with, which is People just really are waiting for a big crisis to make a decision for them. And understandably so. You're taking over someone's entire life. It's really overwhelming and it's hard enough to live your own life in general in this world right now. But it's so important uh to as early as you can reach out to people and start unloading stuff out of your life. So a good example of what I mean by that is letting, let's say, your next door neighbor in on what's happening in your life and seeing if maybe when they go to the grocery store for themselves, they can pick up your groceries while they're at it. Just easy stuff that people in your community around you can do to support just the daily tasks that it takes to live, so that you have more energy freed up to take care of your person with dementia and yourself as well. Like, we shouldn't discount that. It's so, so important. And even when, let's see, I'm an only child and mom is an only child and I only have one child, so it's just me. But mom has a whole tribe of friends. She is diagnosed with breast cancer, is doing really well. That's great. That's great. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, Wild Daisy, there are so many people that do have siblings that find themselves doing it alone. So I'll be super honest with you, sometimes having siblings doesn't even make that big of a difference in what would have been your overall reality, when it comes to caregiving for your parent. It's really, really sad to see that in a lot of family dynamics, it's one person that's like the martyr and the workhorse, and everybody else is just, throwing their hands up and not doing anything. Like, it's really, really sad. Um, let's see. So memory issues might be because of the cancer medications. I mean, maybe, but it's hard to say for absolute certain. Unfortunately, he is not willing. He has escaped the home multiple times, tried to schedule weekly trips with family to meet, but it's not working. Okay. So I'm curious, Jay, too, where you guys placed him. Like, is it like a memory care, assisted living? Because it sounds like he may need somewhere locked if he's escaping a lot, because clearly that is a problem. Yeah, without roots, family trees fall over in times of trouble. Definitely. For sure. For sure. Yeah. So here's the thing, too. A lot of people waste a bunch of energy trying to get various family members to do what they're quote unquote supposed to do. And at the end of the day, you just can't make people do things that you want them to do if they're not willing. So it's a better use of your energy, if that's your situation, to look for people in your life, even if they don't live close by, even if they're not like a direct family member of your person with dementia, maybe they just love you, to support you. In my caregiver community, I created a whole list of various ways that people in your life can help you. So, because oftentimes advice a lot of caregivers get told is, well, if you need help, then ask for it. And sometimes people will say, hey, let me know if you need any help. And then what they unwittingly did is just add another task to your list. So I already did that for you as far as like finding more funding, uh, finding charities that will do services like mowing lawns, cleaning houses, just all this little stuff that most people don't even think of. Like, for example, the Massage Association offers some free massages to caregivers. Looking for, like, let's say, haircutting schools, for example, for discounted haircutting. Um, there's all different ways that you can reach out to the community and get help. It does definitely require legwork, which why I think the simplest thing you could do first as a caregiver who's in the trenches is find one person in your life who you would think of as like a researcher, someone who's really responsible, who really cares about you a lot. Maybe they don't necessarily live right by you, but they're good at making phone calls, they're good at filling out forms. There's like a shocking amount of form filling out that is required as a dementia caregiver. Like, holy. So, even just having someone like maybe your college best friend, for me, it's like a random aunt that I have that's retired, is really responsible, loves is a spreadsheet gal. I promise you, all of us have at least one person like that in our lives. If you designate them as like the delegator and saying like, "Hey, could you like find people in our lives to help me with some of these things on this list that I got from Dementia Caregiving Made Easier?" Boom, there you go. It's it's one step at a time to get that snowball rolling to make caregiving easier. Let's see. Sometimes it will be worse if they aren't the type to be able to handle it. We're so lucky to have a family doctor that still makes house calls. He's wonderful with dad and now with mom. That's amazing. Yeah, definitely. Looking at telehealth, looking into stuff like that can be super helpful. Uh, yeah, just thinking of ways of like, how can I meet them at their ability level right now? And that's also where a senior living community can really help too, is they've set up a lot of that infrastructure for you. Uh, Definitely, again, that's why the legal financial planning piece is really, really important to understand what your options are. As far as long-term support, it's really important to understand that at some point, which I'm sure you know, Wild Daisy, just having gone through this already with your dad. And I'd recommend, if you can, Wild Daisy, to join our group, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier. Again, go to dementiasuccesspath.com if you haven't already to join us. We'd love to walk with you on your journey now with your mom. Assisted living with 24-hour care. Family's not trying to put him in a locked home as it will break his spirit. It's a last resort option. Yeah, I have a feeling though, Jay, having worked in senior living, perfect, awesome. We'd love to have you. Yeah, our goal is to make it as accessible and as affordable as humanly possible. And the thing too is with our group, you can always move up and down based off of what you need. So our group offers as little as like an app that gives you like on demand uh, demonstrations for challenging behaviors, all the way up to like one-on-one coaching. So it's easy to go up and down based off of your need. Is it common for Alzheimer's to affect both spouses? It seems like everyone I know has one spouse has had it in a few years, the other one gets it. I don't know if it's common per se, but it can happen for sure. Um, so the reason with Alzheimer's, just to understand Alzheimer's as a disease in general, is that it is mostly a lifestyle disease that is somewhat affected by genetics. So yeah. So it's possible because maybe those couples were living really similar lifestyles that's why they're getting it. Typically, and it's not like a moral judgment on them by any means. It is just some people just genetically are more predispositioned to getting Alzheimer's and a poor diet, chronic stress, uh like if they have like heart disease or diabetes, like that ups their risk too. Oftentimes because they're living similar lifestyles, that might be why they're both getting it. But I'd highly recommend getting the Alzheimer's Solution. That's a book written by two neurologists. I'm not paid to say anything by them by any means. I'm just big fans of them. It's a really great book on like how to prevent Alzheimer's or how to make your quality of life if you've already been diagnosed a lot better based off of research backed things. And again, all this is really unsexy stuff. It's very much like helping them get more sleep, helping them eat a healthier diet, getting more movement. Like it's just like the basic things that would help you live a healthier life in general. Let's see. Weirdly, they're all neighbors to my mom, so I wondered if it's environmental. It's very possible. There's a lot of different elements that come together to so essentially like Alzheimer's is like triggered by like chronic inflammation in the body. So chronic inflammation can be caused by a lot of things including environmental factors. So it's very, very possible that that could happen. Let's see. Yeah, but that is interesting. Is interesting for sure. All right. Well, I've gone a little bit over my time that I plan on being live, you guys. So again, you're interested in joining our caregiver community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, we are open until tomorrow. So just another 24 hours. So go to dementiasuccesspath.com and join our membership community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, for done for you solutions, a community of folks that are all practical problem solvers to walk with you on this journey. This is something I wish the doctors would provide, but they don't. So sometimes we got to come together as a community and fill in those gaps. Perfect. Awesome. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys very soon.